morning, students. Welcome to the live lecture of Real Analysis 1. We have started in the last lecture with the proof of Darboux theorem. Let me just repeat the statement. Darboux theorem is an important theorem actually, which will be helpful for us for proving many important points like condition of integrability, many more points actually. Okay. The statement of the Darboux theorem tells us that if f is a bounded function on the closed interval AB, then for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists or there corresponds one delta greater than 0 such that this kind of statement, this kind of inequality hold. That is, UPF is less than by, strictly less by upper integral plus epsilon, that of lower sum is strictly greater by lower integral minus epsilon. Then we have started the proof actually. Here we will prove the first part of the theorem, that is UPF is strictly less than the upper integral plus epsilon. In order to establish this one actually, it is given that k is, it is a bounded function. Let us assume some positive constant k such that mod of f of x is less than or equals to k. Right. Now, in order to establish the relation between upper integral and upper sum, we were trying to understand this relation, right? Now, what is the relation between upper integral and upper sum? Here we have left with, right? The relation between upper integral and upper sum is the as this upper integral is infimum of set of all upper sums, therefore this upper sum is greater equal by the upper integrals. Is that okay? Infimum among all these elements is the upper integral. Therefore, if I remove the inferior word from the right hand side, the relation between arbitrary uppers and upper integral is this. Okay. Therefore, one can say that as among infinite number of partitions of the closed interval AB, this is our closed interval, and how many partitions we can make? How many types of partitions? Rather, infinite number of partitions we can make. Out of those infinite number of partitions of this AB, we were going to select one partition. We were going to select one partition, say P1, such that difference between these two numbers, that is upper sum and upper integral, is less than epsilon by 2. Is it possible or not? We are interested in finding one partition such that difference between upper sum and upper integral is less than epsilon by 2. Is it possible or not? Yes, Poonam, Jain Chandra, you want to say something? You raised your hand. Poonam. Is the voice clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, here among all the infinite partitions, we were selecting one partition, say P1, such that difference between these two is less than by epsilon by 2. Why epsilon by 2 is selected is just an adjustment. Okay. So now what we were going to write here? Let me continue the proof. Okay. Okay, are you getting me this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here, let me continue the proof. Okay, so what we have written, again we know that upper integral is infimum of set of upper sum, therefore for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists at least one partition. At least one partition, say P1, particular partition P1 I am selecting, where let me write the partition P1 as having P points, say x0, x1 to xp of closed interval AB, such that, what such that? Upper sum with respect to this P1 minus this upper integral is less than by epsilon by 2. Therefore, can I say this partition P1 gives me the upper sum strictly less than by upper integral plus epsilon by 2? Is it okay? Now, if you look at the statement which we wanted to prove, this is very similar to a statement which we have written, but that is for one partition. But here we were claiming for all partition with this condition, norm less than delta. Okay. Now, what is this particular partition P1 saying? This partition satisfies the condition UP1 strictly less than by upper integral plus epsilon by 2. Is that okay? Now, one more adjustment we want to make. How many points this partition P1 has in all? X0 to XP points I have written. For how many number of points we have in all?
P plus 1.
P plus 1. And if I exclude the end points, how many number of points we have?
P minus 1.
Very good. The partition P1 has P minus 1 points besides x not equal to A and xp equal to B. Right now, that is, one can say P minus 1 points are extra apart from your end points. Okay? Is there any difficulty up to this?
No, ma'am.
Now, for this, we were going to find out one positive number delta. Here, see, I am writing. Then delta be any positive. Then delta be any positive number such that. What such that? See, I am writing. This is purely an adjustment. 2k p minus 1 delta less than epsilon by 2. Let me call it as statement number 2. Let me call this as my 1. Okay. Looking at this 1 and 2, somewhere we have to make the addition of these two. Okay, later I will explain why this adjustment is being made. Okay, but one has to think whether such a delta always exists for every 2k p minus 1 delta etc. for every epsilon also. Let us just think of. Let me give you any simple example. Okay, what is k actually in the proof? K is the bound of your function right now. Let me say some k is 100. Okay, and say p minus 1, that is number of points in the partition besides n points be 10. Okay, and let me select some epsilon to be 1. Okay, now we want to check whether this delta exists for this choice of values k, p minus 1 and epsilon, because we were claiming for all these values, these are the predefined values, no? For all these predefined values, this delta positive number is going to exist. Okay, let us check. Let me put the values on the left hand side. What are the values? 2k p minus 1 delta. 2k is 100, p minus 1 is 10. Delta I wanted to select less than, epsilon is 1 less than half. Okay, then what is the number delta actually? Let us check what should be the number of value of delta. This is 2 into 100 into 10. But how much is the value? 100, 10,000, 2,000. Therefore, let me shift this 2,000 on the right side. Therefore, is it 2 into 2,000? Therefore, what is the value of delta for this choice of predefined values? Delta less than 1 upon 4,000. Right now? Likewise, if you give any choice of k, p minus 1 and epsilon, can you find such a delta? For these given values?
P minus 1 is equal to 9.
No, I just given the example 10. You can take 9. Okay, let us check. For k 100, p minus 1 is 9, epsilon is 1. This is what you are saying, no?
Yes, sir.
2 into 100 into 9 into delta less than epsilon by 2. Then what is the value on the right hand side? 9 to the 18 into 100, 1800. Therefore, delta is less than epsilon is 1. So 2 into 1800. That is, it is less than 1 upon 3600. Right? Whatever the values of k, p minus 1 epsilon we have, there exists one positive number delta which satisfies this condition. This condition is essential for the next part, right? That's why we have taken this. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me call this. Okay. Now, whatever this partition P1 we have selected, is a special partition satisfying this equation number 1. Now we will take one more arbitrary partition P as of given in the statement for every partition P with norm less than delta, with norm P less than delta. Now let me select one partition P, arbitrary partition, which satisfies this condition, and later we will take the refinement of this P and this particular P1 we have selected. Okay? Let P be any partition with norm P less than delta. Okay. Further, we were going to take the refinement. Two partitions we have in our hand, right? P1 is one partition satisfying this statement number 1, and PB any arbitrary partition which satisfies the condition norm P less than delta. Therefore, further P star be refinement of P and P1. How we were taking the common refinement of any two partitions?
P union
P1. Very good. P union P1. Now, this P star is a refinement of P. How many points it will have extra? Number of points in P minus 1 are totally P plus 1. And if I exclude the end points, P minus 1 points are there. Therefore, if I take the union P and P1, then may I say this P star will have at most P minus 1 points more than P. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For this I can say that this implies as P star is a refinement of P having at most. Why I am saying at most P minus 1 points? Because some points of P and P minus 1 may coincide, no? P minus 1 more points than P. Is this statement understood, or shall I give the example? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are not replying, I am considering that you have understood the statement, right? At most P minus 1 points more than P. Now we have ruled one corollary in the last somewhere lectures. What is the corollary? Let me just write the statement. Using the corollary, let me repeat the statement of corollary here. UTF minus 2pk mu less than or equals to UP star F less than or equals to UPPF, right? We have proved it now. That is minus 2pk mu is the amount by which the upper sum are going to decrease. Now tell me what is the what these symbols means. K is the bound of the function. Mu is the norm of a partition. What is P?
Points.
Yes, number of points extra. Right now? If P number of points are extra, this is what a statement we have made. But in our discussion, how many number of points we were considering extra or more? P minus
Minus
1.
one.
Therefore, if I want to use the corollary, what kind of change I wanted to do? Using the corollary, I can write use left part of the corollary. What is the left part of corollary then? UPF minus, is it 2P minus 1?
Minus 1.
P minus 1. K as it is, bound as it is, norm also as it is, and is less than or equals to UP star F. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let me establish the relation between mu and delta. What is given to us that? Given that this norm P is less than delta, no? We have selected the partition with norm P less than delta. Therefore, I can write simply norm less than delta. Now, I want to establish the relation between minus mu and minus delta. Therefore, may I write minus mu is greater than minus delta? Minus mu is greater than minus delta, and I wanted to check what is the effect on this part if I replace the term mu by delta. If I replace the term mu by delta, therefore you have to tell me the relation. UPF minus 2p minus 1k minus mu minus delta. No, this is minus, okay, mu I will write. And here I will write UPF minus 2p minus 1 delta, this I will write. To the left I will write mu. Okay. We wanted to establish the relation between these two equations. Okay. The relation we know is minus mu greater than minus delta, that is minus delta less than minus mu. Therefore, if we look at this statement carefully, this is 2p minus 1k into minus delta, no? Right? How can I write this? UPF. Here if I write plus, then this is 2p minus 1k into minus delta, and to this side UPF plus 2p minus 1k into minus mu. Is that okay? Now the relation between minus delta and minus mu is minus delta is less than minus mu. All the rest terms are same in the statement, in these equations. So what is the relation? Here I can write what kind of inequality? Minus delta less than minus mu. Therefore, can I write here strictly less? Okay. Now, look at this left part of the inequality. This is the left part, no? This is the left part of the inequality, and we have written this is greater than by this. Therefore, now we were replacing this left part by using this equation. Therefore, let me call it as statement 3 and 4. Okay. Therefore, by 3 and 4, now may I say this A less than B, B less than C. Therefore, can I say this A is less than C? Correct? No?
Yes.
A less
Yes.
than B, B less than C. Therefore, this A is less than C. Okay. Therefore, UPF plus 2p minus 1k into minus delta is less than by. Yes? Is less than by UP star F, right? No?
Yes.
UP star F. Okay. Therefore, I can write this as UPF minus 2 times p minus 1k into delta less than UP star F. What is the relation between UP star F and UP1F? By theorem. Which theorem? UP star F is less than or equals to UPF, where P star is the refinement of P. Now here also P star is the refinement of P1. Therefore, can I write a relation rest equal here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For the combined relation, what I have obtained is UPF minus 2 times P minus 1 K delta is strictly less by UP1F. But what UP1F we have already written. Less than upper integral plus epsilon by 2. Before using this, let me just substitute this, let me just shift this value on the right. Therefore, I have UPF is less than by UP1F plus 2p minus 1k delta. Now I am going to use statement number 1 and 2. What is 1? UP1 is strictly less than by upper integral plus epsilon by 2. And what is 2? 2k p minus 1 delta is less than epsilon by 2. Is that okay? Therefore, let me substitute both the values. This is upper integral plus epsilon by 2, and this term is also less than by plus epsilon by 2. Just to make this adjustment, epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, which is less than epsilon, we have initially selected both the values here to be epsilon by 2, right? And to adjust this term, 2p minus 1k delta, initially only we have written that we were making a choice of a number delta such that 2k p minus 1 delta is less than by epsilon by 2. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I have made it very clear. Still, if you have any difficulty, you can ask me. Hence, it is the proof for any partition P with norm P less than delta. Is that okay? If you have a difficulty, you can ask.
No, ma'am.
Good.
Ma'am.
Now, we will go for the second part of the proof, which is parallel to the proof of this statement. Let me just give a look again. Initially, we have started with a bound for the function to be k. Then, by knowing the relation between upper integral and upper sum, we can find one partition P1 such that UP1f minus upper integral is less than by epsilon by 2. Then P1 we have taken to be x0 to xp, that is, it has in all p plus 1 points, and if I exclude the n points, it will have in all p minus 1 points. Then UP1f minus upper integral less than epsilon by 2. Epsilon by 2 I have written just for the sake of adjustment, right? Then we have this statement number 1 with us. Then delta be a positive number we were selecting such that 2k p minus 1 delta less than epsilon by 2. With the help of examples also we have seen that how for every choice of k, p minus 1 and p minus 1 and epsilon, we have one delta with us, right? Then we have made a refinement of the two partitions P and P1 called as P star, and by looking at this partition P1, we can say that this refinement P star can have at most P minus 1 points more than P. Then using this part of the corollary, left part of the corollary, we have this. And then we have replaced mu by delta. The relation between mu and delta is mu less than delta, so that minus mu less than greater than minus delta less than mu. So this is what we have arrived. And then combining this 3 and 4, we have written this. Right? We have changed mu by delta. Then UP star f is less than or equals to UP1f, that we know by the theorem. Upper sum decreases with respect to refine. Then shifting this right on the right, this term is less than by upper integral plus epsilon by 2. This term is less than by epsilon by 2. Combined it gives us epsilon. This is what we wanted to prove. Let me start the same proof for the second part. What we wanted to prove in the second part, lower sum is strictly greater than by lower integral minus epsilon by 2. Correct, no? Check. Lower sum greater than by lower integral minus epsilon. I think I have written epsilon by 2. Na? This is epsilon. Okay? This is what we wanted to prove. We will proceed similarly. We will write the bound of the function. Then we will select one particular partition, and then we will go for having a refinement, and then we will use the corollary again. Procedure is same. Okay? As f is bounded, comma, then there exists k greater than 0 such that, what such that, mod of f of x is less than or equals to k for all x in the closed interval a to b. Now what is the relation between lower integral and lower sum? Yes, students. Lower integral is, yes, lower integral is
supremum set of
Supremum of set of lower
lower
sum.
sums. Very good. This is lower integral is supremum of set of
Or sum.
lower sums.
Lower sum.
That is a bar lower bar b f dx is supremum, yes, LPF. Right now, supremum set LPF. What happens if I remove the relation? Hmm? Lower integral and arbitrary lower sum. supremum among this set is this number. Then what is the relation between suprema and arbitrary element of the set? Suprema is always greater, no?
Great.
So suprema is greater equal by lower sum. Then that is I can write lower sum, arbitrary lower sum is less equal by lower integral. Now looking at this again, we were interested in finding one particular partition such that the difference between the two is less than epsilon by 2, right? Okay. Therefore now can I have a partition say P2 I can write. I have a partition say P2 such that now the difference I am writing to be positive difference. Therefore let me subtract this lower value from this greater value, right? Therefore LPF integration lower integral minus LP2F I can select less than epsilon by 2. Is it okay or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Difference between one partition there may exist such that difference between the two is epsilon by 2. Okay, that is what we were claiming in the proof itself. Okay, therefore here I can write for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a partition say P2 where what is P2 we have same x0 x1 to xp of closed interval AB such that what such that lower integral f dx minus LP2f strictly less than by epsilon by 2. Let me just make a simple adjustment shifting LP2f on the right. What we have lower integral shift epsilon by 2 on the left minus epsilon by 2 greater than by LP2 here. Okay, that is I can write LP2f is greater than by lower integral minus epsilon by 2, correct? What is the number? Last number 4 I have given, that here I will write 5. Okay, why I have written in this format? Because the statement I wanted to prove in the same format, na? Lower sum greater than by lower integral minus epsilon. Therefore, I have written for this particular P2, lower sum is greater than by lower integral minus epsilon by 2. And very similar to the previous discussion again, we were selecting delta positive number, right? As partition P2 has P minus 1 points besides x not equal to A and xp equal to B. So let me select a positive number. Let delta be any positive number such that, what such that? 2k p minus 1 delta less than epsilon by 2. Let me call it as statement number 6. No? Now I am not going to explain this because earlier in the previous case we have discussed, right? Now what's the next step? Take a refinement of P and P2. Let P star or let P be any partition with norm. Partition with norm P less than delta. That is an arbitrary partition satisfy this restriction. Then P star B refinement of P and P2. Therefore, how can I write P star? Common refinement. This is P union P2. Then how many points will be more in P star than P2? At most more I can say. The refinement P star contains, yes, how many points extra?
P minus 1.
Yes, at most P minus 1 points more than P. Correct, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because P2 has P minus 1 points besides n points. If those some points coincide, therefore refinement has at most p minus 1 points more. Okay, more than p. Again, we were going to use the corollary. Hence, by corollary. See, the corollary is very important, na? Because the whole proof of Darboux theorem depends on your corollary. Let me write the corollary statement. LPF less than or equals to LP star F less than or equals to LPF plus 2pk mu. Okay? Is that okay to everyone? Now let me write this. Let me write this right part of the corollary in the reversed manner. Therefore, by this corollary, we have what we have. What the change I have to make? The change will be in the number of points only. So let me write this as LPF plus 2 times p minus 1 k mu greater than by LP star F. Is that okay? Just I have flipped
Yes,
the
ma'am.
equation. Okay. Now one should replace this mu by delta. But to replace this, we should have a relation. But what is the relation we know? Mu less than delta. Mu less than delta. Correct now? Or I can write delta greater than mu. Okay. Then you tell me the relation between these equations again. Then LPF plus 2p minus 1k delta and LPF plus 2p minus 1k into mu. We know delta greater than mu. All the rest terms are same. What is the relation between these two statements?
Less.
Less. Delta greater than mu I am saying.
Greater, ma'am.
Greater than.
Yes, strictly greater. Therefore, let us consider this 7 and 8. See what I am saying? This left side is greater than by this, and this is greater than by LP star. For A greater than B, B greater than C. Therefore, can I say A greater than C? If I using 7 and 8, can I write LPF plus 2 times P minus 1 A delta, now strictly greater by LP star F. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes, ma'am.
LP star F is greater or equal by LP to F. By theorem. Which theorem? LP star F is greater or equal by LPF. Lower sum increases. Correct now? By this theorem we have. Then let me just write this first and last statement. Therefore, I have LPF plus 2 p minus 1 k delta greater than by L p to F. L p to F. Let me shift this term on the right. LPF strictly greater by LP to F minus 2 p minus 1 k into delta. Now it's a time to use the previous two equations we have derived. Equation number 5 says that LP to F is greater than by lower integral minus epsilon by 2, and this is less than by minus epsilon by 2. But if you look at this term comes with a negative, no? Then what is the effect on this inequality if we multiply by negative on both the sides? What is the effect? This less than becomes greater than, no?
Yes.
If I multiply by negative. Therefore, here let me use 5 and 6 in the last statement using 5 and 6. We have what we have. See, check LPF. Now this LP to F is greater than by lower integral minus epsilon by 2. This term is also strictly greater than by minus epsilon by 2. For combinedly, what we have? LPF is strictly greater than by lower integral minus epsilon
Epsilon.
by 2. And hence the proof. Any difficulty? If you have, you can ask.
Minus epsilon.
Oh, sorry. It's minus epsilon by 2. Sorry. Minus epsilon by 2 minus epsilon by 2 is minus epsilon. And hence it is the proof of your theorem. If you understand the first part, then it will be very easy for you to understand the second part because it goes very similar to this. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes, ma'am.
difficulties? Yeah, you can ask. आहे का कुठे डिफिकल्टी पूर्ण theorem मध्ये?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I suggest you to revise this theorem proof again. You should write in your notebook so that once you write it, you will. If you have any difficulty, you can ask me in the next lecture. Okay. Let me go for the next point. Using this, we are going to derive the condition of integrability. That is, if I wanted to check the function whether it is integrable or not, is it always simple for us to find upper sum, then find the set, then infima, then go for lower sum, then find suprema, and then check whether both are equal or not. This will be somewhat lengthy process. Therefore, under this heading of condition of integrability, we are proving one theorem which gives you one statement which will be essential, that is necessary and sufficient condition for the function to be integrable. And this condition is established in two different forms. Here we will write the first form of condition of integrability first. Okay, let me write the first form of condition of integrability. The theorem says that a necessary and sufficient condition for the integrability of a bounded function f is that to every epsilon greater than 0 where corresponds delta greater than 0 such that for every partition P of closed interval AB with norm P less than delta is, what is the condition? UPF minus LPF less than epsilon. This is what the condition is. That what we were saying simply, f is integrable if and only if this condition is true. UPF minus LPF less than epsilon. But for which partitions? For the partitions whose norm is less than delta. Correct now? For the partition whose norm is less than delta. Okay, understood this? A necessary and sufficient condition for the function to be integrable is that for every epsilon there corresponds one delta positive such that there exists a partition P with norm P less than delta where UPF minus LPF is less than epsilon. Okay, let us go for the proof. For the proof, I will first prove that the condition is necessary. If I wanted to show the condition is necessary, what should be my assumption and what should be the aim to prove? Yes? I think all of you are familiar with the difference. What is the meaning of condition is necessary? What is the meaning of condition is sufficient? Now I am proving the necessary part of the theorem. What should be my assumption? And what should be the aim? Yes. नेसेसरी म्हणजे काय माहिती ना सगळ्याला? नेसेसरी कंडिशन. बोला हो, बोला सगळ्यांनी, काहीतरी बोललं पाहिजे ना. कंडिशन नेसेसरीचा अर्थ काय?
गरजेचं आहे.
येस.
पाहिजेच, गरज पाहिजेच ते.
हा पाहिजेच आहे. मग इथं आता अजम्पशन काय येईल माझं? कंडिशन नेसेसरी प्रूव्ह करायचं मला.
Function is integrable.
Yes, very good. Function is integrable is my assumption. And what should be the aim to prove? Assume that a function or the bounded function, I can use the bounded function f is integrable. And what is the aim to show? UPF minus LPF is less than epsilon. Okay, see, it is very important for you to understand what are the given things and what you wanted to prove. The idea should be very clear in your mind. Okay. Now it is very clear to us. To prove condition is necessary, the assumption is bounded function is integrable, and our aim is to prove UPF minus LPF is less than epsilon. Proof of this part is very easy. Before that, I will write the definition. When we say that the function is integrable, by definition of integrability, yes, when you say that the function is integrable,
Two integrals are same
yes, upper integral equal
and lower
to,
integral.
yes,
equal to
equal to lower integral. And how we were writing this? Simple integral a to b of dx, right now? Okay. Now let us start with epsilon be any positive number. Let epsilon be any positive number. Now for this epsilon, we were showing delta exists. Correct now? Therefore, now I am going to make use of Darbox theorem. Therefore, by Darbox theorem, just now we have proved it now. By Darbox's theorem, for every epsilon, there exists delta positive such that for every partition P, with norm P less than delta, what we have? Upper sum is strictly less than by upper integral plus epsilon. Lower sum strictly greater than by lower integral minus epsilon. Correct now? This is what Darbox theorem tells us. But as of my function is integrable, can I write this upper integral equal to integration? Similarly, lower integral is integration. Okay. But can I write it here only? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Reason here using 1, and I will give this as number 1. Now, our aim is to show UPF minus LPF less than epsilon. Two equations we have with us. And we wanted to make, this is UPF, this is LPF. We wanted to find UPF minus LPF. So in order to make this subtraction, what I will do first, I will multiply the second equation by minus, and then I will add the two inequalities. Is that okay? Let me call this is 2 and let this be 3. First, what we will do, multiply 3 by minus 1. We get. What is the effect if I multiply by negative? Minus LPF. Strictly greater becomes strictly less. Correct? I will check this one. Therefore, is it negative integration a to b of dx plus epsilon, right? Now I will call this as 4. Now what I will do, I will add this 2 and 4. UPF minus LPF I will get. Okay. Adding 2 and 4. We get. What we get if I add? This is UPF minus LPF, right now. What is the inequality? Which inequality should be used? This is strictly less, this is strictly less. Therefore, here it will be strictly less. This positive integration a to b added with this negative integration a to b, f dx. May I say these two will cancel?
Yes.
This and this will cancel one another. And what we will have? Epsilon plus epsilon.
2 epsilon.
Epsilon.
2 epsilon. But what we wanted to show? UPF minus epsilon, epsilon. Therefore, tell me the adjustment. Where can I make the adjustment correspondingly to adjust the result UPF minus LPF less than epsilon? What changes I should do? Epsilon plus epsilon 2 epsilon घेते ना आपल्या आता. But
Epsilon by
पाहिजे काय? Yes, epsilon by 2. Therefore, इथे epsilon by 2, इथे epsilon by 2. Correct? लक्षात येते का? आता बघ चेक करूया आपण.
हो मॅम.
आता चेक करूया. Adding 2 and 4. These two terms cancel. We remain with epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. Right now? Equal to epsilon. Hence, what we have proved? Correct now? And for which partitions it is true? For every partition with norm P less than delta. Norm P less than delta. Okay. Let me finish quickly the second part also. Sufficient part. What is the assumption now?
UPF.
Yes, we will assume the condition. For epsilon greater than 0 for any partition P with norm P less than delta, we have what we have? UPF minus LPF less than by epsilon. And what is the aim to show? Function is integrable, right? To show it is integrable, actually our aim is to show upper integral is equal to lower integral. But we know that we have proved one inequality, no? We know that for any partition P, we have written one inequality. I don't know whether you are remembering or not. Lower sum is less than or equals to lower integral less than or equals to upper integral less than or equals to upper sum. We have proved it, no? We have somewhere proved this inequality. To show it is integrable, actual aim is to show that upper integral equal to lower integral, right now? Therefore, we were using this inequality. Let me separate the inequality into two parts. Left part I will write LPF is less than or equals to lower integral. Okay. I will write the right part separately. Upper integral less than or equals to UPF. Okay. Now I will add these two inequalities. Adding the above inequalities. What will happen if I add these two? LPF plus upper integral less than or equals to upper sum plus lower integral, right now? Now what we will do? We will just separate sums on one side, integrals on one side. What will happen if I separate? Check. I will take integrals on left side. Therefore, this integral will be as it is. This lower integral shifted to the left gives me negative. Less equal as it is. Upper sum as it is. This lower sum I will shift to right hand side with negative. Is that okay? But
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is the
Yes,
value
ma'am.
of UPF minus LPF? What is the assumption we have? Less than epsilon, na?
Yes, ma'am.
This is by assumption. Correct, na? Now, what is the effect of, what is the quantity on the left? Upper integral minus lower integral. What kind of, what is the nature of this value? Is it non-negative? Because we know upper integral is always greater or equal by lower integral. Right now? Now check. This is a non-negative quantity or non-negative number. Non-negative number less than by a positive number. When this is true, we want to find out a non-negative number which is less than by every positive number. What is the value on the left? असा एक नॉन नेगेटिव्ह नंबर शोधायचा आहे जो प्रत्येक पॉझिटिव्ह नंबर पेक्षा लहान असला पाहिजे. काय येईल?
0.
Yes. Such that I can write epsilon be a positive number. Therefore, we see a non-negative number. A non-negative number is less than by every positive. Every positive matters, okay? Positive number. Hence, it must be 0.
Yes, ma'am.
Hence, it must be 0. So, what is the value on the left side? Upper integral minus lower integral equal to 0, right now? Therefore, may I say both the integrals are same? Hence, the function is integrated. Hence, the proof of condition of integrability of first part. In the next lecture, we will go for the second part of the proof. Any difficulty if you have, you can ask me now. Very simple proof.
No.
But the thing is, you should revise this proof again. You should write it in your notebook. Okay? Let us stop for today. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.